What is going on, everybody? We are live this week with how to find buyers the painless way. We're talking about the painless cash buyer secrets. That's why you guys are here. You want to find buyers for your deals. What is up? I got Landry on here with me too. How you doing, Landry?
Pretty good. How about you, Nathan?
I'm doing good. I noticed that we got the Christmas theme going on. I got my red hat and I got my green shirt. You got your green shirt.
Oh yeah, there you go. I know I used to have a little over this way, a tiny Christmas tree. It's like this big, but then my cats have been messing with it, so I just had to stuff it in a drawer. So I would have had to vibe a little bit.
You stuffed your cat in a drawer?
No, not the cat. The tree. It's literally right here. It's pretty awesome and festive, but as you can tell, cats love this.
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, I got my little tree back here.
Love it.
Loving the Christmas season. I'm super excited. Merry Christmas, everybody. Happy holidays. If you don't want to say that, I love saying Merry Christmas, but hey, we love everybody here, so no worries. We got David Gonzalez Merlin saying, what is up? Let's go. Everybody, when we start off these calls, these are live. These are here to help you. We're literally going over how to find buyers. And I got a secret. I got something special for you guys cooked up for this Christmas season. Maybe a lot of you don't know how to do. I'm going to show you how to find buyers on the MLS. Okay.
Ooh.
It's going to change the game for a lot of you. Okay. And I'm going to show you how you can use batch data to fill out what you need to list these properties. It's going to be amazing. We got Steven saying, how's it going, everyone? Steven, good to see you, man. We met the other day. Good to see you, Steven.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. So let us know where you're watching from. If you're watching this live, it's important to us. And if we can't see what you're saying because you're watching it from a different platform, we apologize. But yeah, let us know what areas you're. That's why I love this job is you can do it anywhere in the world.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So it's exciting. So let us know where you're watching. And today, like I said, we're going to be talking about how to find cash buyers, not only through batch leads where it's off market, but you can find cash buyers using the MLS. Okay. You can use them by listing a property. Did you know you could list a property, Landry, if you're not a real estate agent?
No, I didn't know that at all. I guess, I mean, with like for sale by owner, I guess I never understood their process, but they're in a way listing it, but that's not going on the MLS, right?
Right. Yeah. The multiple listing service, in order to be able to list on that, you have to be a real estate agent or a broker and have the access to do that. And a lot of the times when I go through a process with sellers that I work with, I give them my cash offer first.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's too low or they don't really fit the criteria where they don't need to sell ASAP, their house isn't in terrible condition, I'll say, hey, you could get a little bit more money if we just take this thing to the open market. I can find buyers that way. And a lot of them are like, really? And it doesn't matter what state it's in. You can put properties on the MLS. You can still even find cash buyers on the MLS, and you can assign your contract that you have to a cash buyer you find just from the MLS. So it's just
awesome.
Still a wholesale. You just found them on the MLS. And I did a deal in Del Rio, Texas, a little bit like a month or so ago. And we put the property in. We were on the MLS. We were originally looking for a traditional buyer, someone that had a loan and could pay a little bit more. But we actually found a buyer that had cash. So we just assigned it to them, avoided having to pay closing costs and all these fees. And it was really easy. So that's just something that we're going to go over today. I'm not going to dive like too deep into the paperwork, but I'm going to show you guys the process. And we got some more people coming in, telling us where they're watching from. Orange County, amazing. San Antonio, great. So Jennifer, you might know where Del Rio, Texas is. It's kind of south of where you're at, and small place. And then another one from San Antonio. Wow.
Yeah, there you go, Rogelio.
San Diego. All right. Well, before we dive into this, Landry, do you have anything you want to say? Say what's up to the crowd, or have any questions about listing properties on the MLS?
No, I'm excited for today, though. I think that's going to be really nice to see kind of a different way to go about it on the MLS. So no,
for sure
so far, but I'll definitely let you know if I have questions. And if you guys have questions, of course, just drop them in the chat as always. And Nathan's great about answering those and diving into detail. So
thank you. Yeah. And of course, if you guys have any properties that you need help find buyers for, you want my opinion, you want some help, I might even be able to help you find a buyer here. Now, because we're doing this live, we can't share our screen with batch completely to show you all the information. But Landry, while I'm kind of talking this, maybe you can bring up the main screen on any property and just kind of show like where the details would be. Can you do that while I'm talking about this process?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay. All right. We have more people trickling in telling us where you're watching from. Amazing. Love to see it. So let's talk about this scenario. This is a scenario that happens all the time when you meet with sellers. Okay. And in this scenario, I'm telling you about one that I'm working on right now, where I'm working with my brother-in-law. If you've watched some of the past videos, my brother-in-law came to me because I'm loud about what I do. So he came to me and said, hey, I have a property in Florida. Do you want to buy it, or can you help me find a cash buyer? So I sat down with him, and this is what I do with all sellers. I say, hey, let's look at your options, because a cash offer might not always be your best option, right? It might not be something that meets all the things you need to hit, like checks off all the lists. So let's talk about it.
Right.
So, and I'll show you the process because I have a little spreadsheet. But I took him through the cash offer. We ran through what he would make. And when we talked about what he would make, he was going to make less than listing it, but he wanted something fast and easy. So I started looking for cash buyers, and I started getting feedback and telling him, hey, look, what I originally thought the cash buyers would be around, it's actually a lot lower in that area. They want a better deal. So the next step, if you want some more money, is to fix this thing up yourself. Obviously, if you flip it, you're going to make more money. And he's like, that's potentially an option, but I don't really want to put money into it. I'd rather sell quickly. But I don't want that low discount of the cash because the house is destroyed. So I said, okay, so you don't want cash yet. You're not ready to flip it yet. So the third option is, let's put it on the market and let's see if we can find, let's list it, right? Now you can obviously, brother-in-law, you can go with a regular agent, but they're going to, charge you commissions and fees. I'll do it. I'll do full service. I'll answer all the calls. I'll do all the showings, get everyone through there. And obviously I'm not going to charge you as much because you're my bro, and I'm in this scenario, I'm very transparent. I'm always transparent, but I'm telling him exactly the process of like what it would look like. We put on the MLS, I'd get the calls, walk him through. And then in this situation, he would just pay me through an invoice when paid. Simple as that. Be like, hey man, give me 5, 10, 15,000, whatever we agree on. What we've agreed is depending on how much more we sell it for, the price, what my fee goes up. Right.
Yeah. And that was the first time, that was the last show that we talked about that. And I was like, oh, that's easy.
Yeah, very, very simple. So I don't have to be a real estate agent to get paid in this transaction because I know him. Now, if you're working with a seller, you can also do the same thing. And a lot of people are like, well, I'd rather have a contract and just make it be solid. That's fine, especially if you go the MLS route, what I'm about to show you. But in this situation, very simple. I'm not going to do all this work and he's not going to not pay me. It's just not how it works, right? Or it might be a little awkward at Christmas, right?
Yeah.
Be like, hey man, you got to hook me up. I'm just kidding. You wouldn't do that. But so let's take a look at the process really quick, everyone, of what I took them through and the options that I took them through, and then how we did this MLS and how batch comes into play and can help us get all the information we need so we can get this property listed. And it's going to shock you. You guys are going to be like, wow, that wasn't that hard. That was pretty easy. So let me make sure I got my spreadsheet up before I share my screen. Okay, let's see, share my screen, entire screen. Let's go right here. All right. So what I sat down with him, and just what I told everyone here, I said, hey, here's your cash offer. It's probably going to be around $329. If you flip it you're probably going to be able to sell it for $480, but after fees, holding costs, all that stuff, you're probably going to get $429. But if we list this on the MLS, you're probably going to walk away with $365 for $329, and we getting it done fast. So I ran the numbers. It all in my spreadsheet that I use. You plug in the numbers, and as soon as you plug it in, it populates the different options they have. Right? Very simple.
Yeah, I think that probably helps the potential seller feel more at ease as well, because you're not just saying, hey, this is the only option that you could take, the only route. You're giving them multiple kind of things to think about, which I think is just so nice and transparent.
Yeah, that's exactly how I make decisions in my life when it comes to I look at my options. I don't just look at one thing and just make a split quick decision. I like to see and I think I like to deal with sellers the same way. Now, if a seller calls me and says, hey, I'll take $100K. I've already talked to 100 people. If you
I'm ready to move it. Yeah.
Then you don't really need to be like, well, let's sit down and look through your options, because that's just not necessary. Yeah. But other situations when they're exploring, this is very helpful. Now, this is the offer option decision tree that I made, and I think it's pretty helpful just to review it. So if you run into a seller that they want speed and they have no time, they want to close within 30 days, your options are a cash offer or seller finance, because with those two, you can get it done very quickly. If they want the highest price and they have time, then you have every option. You can renovate it. You can do, you can put on the MLS. You can do an owner carryback, which is a seller finance, or list it as is. If they have time and want the highest price, you have all options available to you. Most likely they're not going to want to go for cash though, because cash is lower and they have time and they can wait for a better offer. House is currently listed. Well, you can't relist someone's house that's already listed. So you really just have cash and seller finance. House needs a ton of repairs and they have time. Well, that's cash. And you can also put it on the market, because you never know if you'll find that cash buyer on the MLS that you can assign it to, or that will buy it. And minimal repairs want speed and convenience. So house is in good condition, but they still want speed and convenience. Well, those people, if they want the speed, they're going to have to go with cash. They're going to have to go with the owner, the seller finance. Full service program, that's what I call listing it for them. That is not always, depends what market you're in, but that's not always the fastest, but it can be depending on what you price it at. So I don't, just for everyone there, this, you guys can take a screenshot of what I'm showing you. This is very, very helpful when you're talking to people, to put them in the right bucket, and when you're asking them what they need and their problems and what they're trying to accomplish. So my brother-in-law, like I was telling you, we decided the cash wasn't it. He's not ready to flip it. We might, after we list it and we don't get what we want, but we're here at the listing process. So what does that look like for everyone? I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And hopefully everybody, if you have any questions, throw them in the chat, and then Landry, you can just stop me. But hopefully that's making sense. Can everybody that's watching this live give me like a 1 in the chat if you're following along before I go into what listing it looks like now? Give me a 1 if you understand, and give me a 2 if you're a little confused and maybe might be able to slow down and revisit it. And if you don't want to type, then I guess I just got to keep going. Okay.
Perfect. I know I always do the same thing. I'm like, somebody tell me I'm not talking to nobody in the crowd.
Right. No, I appreciate the participation, because again, it's what we're doing it for, is to help you guys out. Okay. So what we're going to do here is, we've talked to our seller, we talked to our brother-in-law, whoever, and listing it is the option. Now, I don't have a real estate license. Okay. I'm not a real estate agent. So how do I list something in Florida? How's that possible? Okay. Really weird question, tough question, because I didn't know back in the day. I was like, that sounds like the craziest thing ever. Can you even do that? So what you do here, let me make sure I got my other screen pulled up. All right, hold on. Let's see. It's going to blow your mind, everybody. You're going to love this. It is called Brokerless. Okay. Brokerless is the easiest way to the MLS. Let me show you guys how easy it is. It's $99 a month. To list, 99, not a month, $99 to list it with 6 photos, $149 to list it for 25, and then $188 if you did 25 photos. And I think it does one other thing. So all I did is I went in here and I did the 4 simple steps. I paid for $150 because we had like 20 photos, and they emailed me, and we've started going through that process. Let's see.
So interesting. I'm like so interested in this.
Yeah. Wow, dang. I thought I had the email up already. Give me a second, everybody. So just so everybody knows, again, it's Brokerless. It's like $149 to $99 to list it. And let me pull up the email so you guys can all see what they require. It's super simple. So I've been going back and forth with these guys, and let's see, where is it? Oh, I was actually on the right email. It's just I didn't pull up the right one. Let's see. When it comes to sign, you will have the partner. So they ask for 2 things. They ask for pictures that you want to upload, and they ask for specific data that you need in order to so they can put all the information for the listing up. So I want to show you what data they're going to ask for, so you guys can see that you can pretty much get everything from batch leads, which is what we're going to show you, right? Landry's going to show you why. That's kind of annoying. Sorry, I had it up.
No worries. By the way, just to clarify for everybody, is that's just per property or per listing, right? Not per month, just to really make sure.
By listing. Yeah, that's correct.
So by listing, David.
Yeah. Cause that, I don't know maybe that'd be a good deal if you were listing a ton a month, but
yeah. Too much.
Okay. Here we are. Found the dang email. All right. So yes, as soon as I paid $149, they emailed me and they said, hey, you just need to fill out these two things. Complete your property data form. Okay. And then upload your photos that you want. So bam, uploaded the photos that I wanted, submitted that, they got it, and then the listing info. So this is a single family property. And as soon as you click single family, it starts asking the questions of like the property condition, county, where you can get all that information from Batch. Now, the thing is, they will want the actual owner, the legal owner, to sign the agreement, which is fine. You're working with them. So with my brother-in-law, I just said, hey, Ben, here, go ahead, fill out this information, and they'll be contacting you and sending you a DocuSign, e-sign, so you can sign the purchase, the REPC, right?
Mm-hmm.
The real estate contract. And so he filled it out, and pretty much now we're waiting for it to go on active. And then I start, my number is on there on the listing. So I'll be taking the calls. I'll be telling people how to walk through the property, negotiating. And then once we come to an agreement, we're going to send them a regular. We might use the Florida State contract, or we might just use the one that I use just all for my deals. And then we just take that to a title company. Bada bing, bada boom. It's just a normal transaction at that point. Once the title company takes over, they make sure and facilitate that everything's getting done right. But really easy steps to putting the data of the property that Landry, I'll let you go and show that after I'm done, and upload your property photos. Pretty simple, right?
Yeah. My gosh.
So Landry, right here, do you want to just kind of show just the general info that you can pull from Batch that you can, it's going to ask you questions like, beds, baths, and, the general information that you can pull from Batch. So let's see just kind of navigate people where they can find that.
Cool. So in the property details, that's where you can get all of a lot of the basic info. This stuff stays up there, like the beds, the bath, square footage, all of just the characteristics on the actual property, which is kind of the main thing that they're wanting to know about. And then it goes a little bit deeper too. Like if it did ask, for some reason, anything really specific about the property, you have things like that below.
It does, by the way. It asks a ton of questions.
Okay, cool. Yeah. I feel like a lot of what you're referencing, you could probably find just straight up right on this first tab. But if you wanted to, you have other stuff. But, then that gets into like the sale and loan information, tax info. You do have like the MLS tab on here to see, like, this one is an active one. So then I could go and look at the description and get that stuff as well. If they're in pre-foreclosure at all, any other properties they own too in the owner profile, which is pretty cool. So I could be like, hey, do you own any other properties? And I would have the list of those addresses. So a lot of really deep info that you can jump into, but for doing this process, you just jump into the property details and gather that info pretty easy.
100%. Rock, you nailed it. So that's exactly how I was able to use Batch with this. Now I was filling out the information using Batch and what I needed, but then I was like, you know what, might be easy I know Ben, like my brother-in-law, so I was like, hey, do you want to just fill out the rest of this? So then he just took care of it. But cool. If you don't have the ability to contact the person when you're trying to fill it out for some reason, you just want to get it done, you can reference the information on Batch, because Batch is pulling it from county records. It's probably pulling it from previous listings. It's pulling it from all those data sources. And Pamela's asking, is that only in Florida? So Pamela, great news. It's all over the United States. Okay.
So awesome.
Yeah. And that's what a lot of people, if you've heard of the term novation, that's what a lot of these people are doing, is they're getting the novation paperwork, all the paperwork's filled out so they can list. So when this company, Brokerless, says, hey, we need the documents or the contract showing, that who can sign for this, you can submit your novation paperwork and say, hey, I have the power of attorney, the attorney in fact, whatever paperwork you use for those, and sign it, and they'll accept it. But again, in this situation, my brother-in-law, we're kind of working this together. So I'm just like, hey, just sign and fill it out. And again, why would we do this? Why would we go through this big hassle of listing it on the MLS when we can find cash buyers? Cash buyers, normally they want a really good deal because they need to make money, right?
Mm-hmm.
My cash offer was about $329 on his property. We're seeing that after fees and commissions, he's going to get about $370. Okay. So for him, he's willing to list it and wait a couple, maybe 30 days, 60 days to make an extra 40,000 without having to do anything to the house. He just has to wait. So cash is good for speed, convenience, and ease. But if you run into someone like my brother-in-law who's like not distressed or doesn't need to sell ASAP,
yeah,
we offer the option, hey, we can list this and we can see if we can get maybe a family that wants to live in it, or a landlord that's like, hey, I own a bunch of rentals in the area. I want this one. And he's willing to pay a premium and more because he's not looking to flip it and make a return on his money like within the next 60 days, right? Like most flippers.
So I'm curious, this is, who knows, maybe it's a silly question, but I'm starting to think about, with a regular, what's the difference with, so let's say that somebody sees it, they see it listed and they're like, this is great. We're going to go and purchase our first home or whatever. And they're new in the process of purchasing a home and they just have like a conventional loan or something. How does that work? Is it not complicated at all and just would work regularly? Because then I'm thinking about like a real estate agent, and would there be any difference there? Like when somebody actually comes and wants to start like inspections done and things like that, you know what I'm saying?
It depends who's buying it, right? So if you're a cash buyer that you find a cash buyer in the MLS, it's going to be
cool.
They're going to just look at it and they're going to get a hard money loan or cash and they're just going to buy it and close quickly, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you find someone with a conventional loan, right, they're going to have to go through the process where the bank gets the appraisal. They go through the normal process.
So just a regular
process. Now, in this situation, how would I get paid? Well, I'm not a real estate agent, so I can't technically get paid like a commission off of it. That's why my brother-in-law is just going to pay me out of his profit. Now, if you aren't an agent and you do this, and so you're not an agent, but you do novation, you can get your fee out of filing like the correct paperwork. So when the property sells, you get your fee out of the deal, right? I'm not going to go into the paperwork about it or explain kind of too deep, but I will say that yes, you still get paid. You just have to file the right paperwork in order to get compensated or your fee at the end of close, even if that person has a conventional loan. Now, if they have an FHA loan, that's usually the house has to be in like pretty good shape. It can't have like major issues like cracks in the pavement. Like they have checklists that you have to do. So that's why a lot of people that do the listing and they go this route, they do minor repairs to get the house FHA approved. So if someone has that kind of loan, it qualifies and everything goes smooth with that.
Okay. That makes that clearer.
You really open up your buyer pool a ton once it gets on the market. My thought, I love cash buyers. I love wholesaling, but you're always going to make more if you can take it to the MLS, just because you're going to get more eyes on the property.
Yeah.
Like more competition. So more people are going to see it. So if you're dealing with a seller who doesn't need speed, convenience, ease, they want the highest price, but they like you and they want to work with you, and you can provide that value saying, hey, I'll take care of everything. Let's just take the open market. Then go ahead, list it, do a novation. Or if you're really cool with them, just list it and then they can just pay you when it closes through like an invoice or write you a check for your hard work.
What about, okay, last question. Sorry, just because I think this is such a cool.
I think the questions you have are probably the questions that most people have. And by the way, in the chat, go ahead, fill it up, everybody. We're here to serve.
Yeah. What about so you have it and then somebody, like, let's say I'm wholesaling and I'm looking at active listings on the market and I'm like, ooh, this one looks right up my alley. And then a wholesaler reaches out. Okay. And then, creates, now they have to find a buyer. Like, how would that work? Would that work at all? Would it,
So let's run that scenario. We list this property, the one in Florida. It's, we're probably going to go active today. And a wholesaler calls me. Most of the time, the wholesaler's going to be like, oh, yeah, I'm looking to buy a house. And it's for me. It's like, immediately I can be like, no, you're not. I know what you're doing. It's okay. It's just be transparent. And he's like, well, no, I'm not going to buy it, but I have a couple buyers. for me, I'm going to say, hey, that's great, man. Go ahead, tell all your buyers that we're selling this house and then you get paid. But I'm not going to go under contract with you
Okay.
just so you can find someone, because that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to
Yeah,
find.
you're like, I'm already doing that part. Okay. I wondered about that. I was like, what about if it's like then somebody else and it just goes down this rabbit hole?
Yeah.
And now they're trying to find a buyer. So perfect. So just, they get like some sort of finder's fee, for bringing it to the buyer and they can have the contract with you. Okay, cool.
Yeah. A lot of wholesalers do the MLS offers, like they work with MLS deals in the wrong way, in my opinion. When I do deals on the MLS, I usually have the buyer already in place, or it's such a good deal that if I lock it up, it's already, I already have a buyer for it, right? Yeah. But locking up somebody on the MLS when you don't know if it's a deal, you don't know if you'll find a buyer, and you're just wasting their time, that's not good. That's not a good practice. That's why you want to have buyers in place and really understand your market versus just tying up people and just wasting their time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So so if you called me and you're like, hey, I'm just going to get you under contract and I'm going to look, I'm going to say, go ahead and do that, but we're not going under contract. You can do it. Go ahead. And if any of your buyers call me, I'm going to say, hey, did you come from John? Because is he the one that told you about this? I'm going to make sure you get taken care of. But again, no reason to just lock it up and waste everybody's time. So
perfect. Yeah. Yeah, definitely agree.
All right, let's see. We got some good questions coming through. If we help a seller take their property to the market and it sells, obviously get our fee for finding and marketing the deal. Does seller still need to pay the purchasing agents? Yes. So that's a good question.
Yeah.
Great question, Stephen. So what is Stephen asking? There's two sides of the commission. There's the listing side, right? So if I'm a real estate agent, I can list your house for 3%, 1%, whatever. I agree. Usually it's 3%. Then there's the buyer's agent that brings the buyer, it represents the buyer, and they usually want 3%, but you can get away with 2.5, 2, depends what you do. So how are we doing this? We are listing this house and we're saying buyer's commission of 2.5%, right? So when Ben sells this house for 400,000, for example, or 370, he's going to have to take, $7,000 out of this 370 and pay that to the buyer's agent, right? So you still pay the buyer's commission for bringing the deal, and your fee is negotiated in the beginning, or it's a percentage, or it's whatever you agree. Now, if you do a novation, usually put that into the price. So for example, if Ben wants 370, I would list it at 400,000. And so there's a 30K fee in there, but that's usually what people do, is they just add their fee in on the list price and increase it. So when it does sell, they get that at the end. And they're usually transparent with the seller, like, hey, for me doing this, for getting your house ready, I put in some repairs. I'm just adding my fee in there, and then I get taken care of close. Doesn't cost you any money to pay me. I just get paid out when the house sells. Yeah. Okay. And we got pure fire content. Thank you, United States real estate investor. I appreciate you. I think this is Antonio. I think that's my friend, but
there you go.
There you go. Okay. Any other questions, Landry? Is this the first time you found out about this, right? Like that you can do this?
Yeah, I think that's really cool. I've never seen or heard of that website or resource before, which I think is really cool that you can do that anywhere. And trying to think, there was one other thing that I had.
The first time I used this website, I was like, did a 5-year-old make this? Like, is this legit?
Yeah.
I wasn't even sure if this was if this is a scam or not, to be honest. I was like,
yeah. How'd you find this anyway?
No, a lot of investors use it. So Brokerless, it's just Brokerless. Like you don't need,
you don't have a broker.
Yeah. So I think that's what it means, bro. No broker, I guess.
Yeah, you don't have a broker. So, okay. You can
it makes it work.
But yeah. I think my other question was, it probably kind of just like a given that if a buyer comes and they're unrepresented, then that 2.5% doesn't have to be put into it, because then there's no buyer's agent.
Yeah, that'd be really cool. Like, so if a wholesaler came in and was like, hey, I have a buyer for the deal, and you don't have to pay a commission, like a buyer's commission. I'll just, whatever we pay, my fees inside. Cause that's what a lot of wholesalers will say, like, hey, I'm unrepresented, so you can take both sides of the commission or give yourself a discount. So if someone came to me like that and found a good buyer where the price still made sense, yeah, that'd be worth working with them.
Cool.
But yeah, what else was I going to say? But for everyone, just know that like when you're talking to sellers about what they want, it's not always about price. It's usually never about price. It's usually about there's a situation they're trying to accomplish. So don't always just like try to. I might have made it seem like you just need to box them in and be like, okay, what do you want? What price do you want? I don't really get into this discussion of what they want and the price and all that stuff until after I understand their situation, what they're trying to accomplish, or motivation. So it's always like, hey, what's the reason for selling? Okay. And if it's like immediately like, hey, I got to get out of here, blah, blah, blah. It's like, okay, I understand this is someone that needs the speed, convenience, and ease. But a lot of sellers in the beginning are really tight knit, like not tight knit, but like tight to their chest. They don't want to tell you what's going on. So use the options to kind of soften them up and show them like, hey, I'm not here to push you to do anything. I'm just here to help you succeed.
Yeah. I think so. I think that does really soften it, because you're like, I'm not trying to just give you one option. There's lots of different avenues available to you. And, and it just depends on what you want, essentially, when you get to that point. I think that's
of course. Hey, by the way, for everyone watching live, if you could, wherever you're watching, just give a thumbs up or a like to the video, because I did just learn that this improves the algorithm. So more like, oh, people like this video, let's show it to more people. So if you could all just take a second to like it, or what is it? It's
like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Usually is like the flow.
I just forgot. I just thought there was like a different button than like on YouTube versus Facebook. I guess it's the same thing. They're all the thumbs up, I guess is what it is, right? Thumbs up and like.
Yeah. Sometimes I just say, hit the thumbs up button. Sometimes I say that, just whatever.
Yeah, there you go. So help us out, because this we want to get this. We do this every week, and I think this Landry, we're going to be doing in January, right? For when I do this call every week, but you come come with me. So we'll be hopping back on with Landry. But again, guys, I do this every week where I can talk to you about finding buyers, help you find buyers. And that's my goal. I'd love for someone to come on the show, drop an address in, I call a buyer, and you get paid for Christmas. That'd be great.
That would be so awesome. I would love that. And Gabe has a question.
Yeah. So I don't have it under contract, but Realtor is asking for address. It's FSBO. Should I send it? So Gabe, you don't have it under contract, but Realtor is asking for address. I'd have to know why they're asking for the address. Are they asking because they're interested in buying it, or they have a buyer for it? And if you give that address to them, are you concerned that they might just go around you because you don't have it under contract? So you would have to have that conversation with the agent. I would call them and just say, hey, look, I don't have this thing under contract yet. I'm still negotiating it. I can give you the information, but I just want to put it out there. I don't want you to go around me. Just be transparent and open about it. Most people that have been in this business for longer than like a month know that this is a relationship-based business, and you can't win and you can't succeed if you snake other people. Like, you just won't make it in this business. So I'm assuming this agent, if you send them the information and talk to them, they're going to be like, yeah, no worries. I'll send it to them. And we won't go around you. That's how I do it if I don't have some under contract. Seller is asking $5,000 EMD, non-refundable 5-day inspection. So that's tough. To give $5,000 non-refundable. Is that like, I'd have to talk to you like in person, Gabe, but usually $5,000 EMD is only something I would do if my buyer has already walked the property. So for example, if a seller's like, hey, $5,000 EMD as soon as we go under contract, well, I'd say, okay, that's fine. Let me go walk it. Said my buyer, he's like, yeah, I'm good. I'd use his $5,000, not my $5,000, his $5,000. But I would not just give them $5,000, not know if I had a buyer, and $5,000 is not refundable. Go 5 days, not find someone, and then I lose $5,000. It's not a good bet, unless it's the greatest deal of all time. But usually, it's probably not if they're getting kind of crazy like that. Great information. All right. And can you repeat the scenario if another wholesaler contacts you? You said that you want to sign with them, but it's okay that they want to. Okay. That I wouldn't sign with them. So I list this property in Fort Myers, Florida that I'm talking about, that I have. And a wholesaler calls me. He's like, oh, I'm going to buy this house for myself. And I'm like, no, just be real. You're just looking for buyers. You're just going to wholesale. And he's like, yes. Okay. I'm like, okay, well, hey, I'm not going to go under contract with you, but I will let you just go send this out to your buyers. I'll even give you like a $5,000 discount from what it's listed from, or 10,000 if you can find them and they're ready to close ASAP. And then that way, when he calls his buyers, he's like, hey, I got a good deal. It's listed at 380, but I can give it to you for 370. So I'm hooking you up. So that way he's benefiting them. But if he calls them and he's like, hey, I have a house that you'd like, I can give it to you for 385, but it's listed for 380. They might be like, why would I work with you? You're not providing any value other than you told me about it.
Yeah, because it's already right there.
So was that, Landry, do you think I answered that correctly?
Yeah. Let us know, Pamela. I thought that was a good reiteration run through of this scenario.
Okay, let's see. When you list on this website, what's the outreach for buyers versus the MLS? Does it also get tagged on Zillow, Redfin, MLS, so we understand how fast we can be in escrow? Yes. Yeah. So the way that this is set up is, to my knowledge, is it hits all the platforms like you just addressed right there. And it's the same thing in the sense, like the contact info of who would get those calls would be the same as like if an agent listed a property and put their own phone number. So if I put my phone number, I'm going to get those calls and those emails just like an agent would if they listed it.
You guys are currently waiting for it to go active right now?
Yeah. So we just last night submitted pictures and signed the documents and everything. Now we're in the queue for it to go active. And this all happened yesterday. So it's probably going to go active today. We'll see.
Nice.
But the goal would be to sell it and have it sold by the end of No, I think he wants to sell at the beginning of next year, just for tax purposes. So we have the rest of this month, and then hopefully it closes in beginning of January.
Awesome. Have you done this? I can't remember. Have you done this exact process before? Okay. That's the same thing in Del Rio.
Right. Same thing. It's just a different state in Texas. No, I've done a couple of these and it's a smooth process. I've usually had my virtual assistants or other employees that have done the paperwork. I just did it because it was my brother-in-law, and just figured I'd show everyone here how simple it was. It's
very simple. Pretty awesome.
For sure. Cool. Well, that's pretty much it, everybody. We're probably going to wrap. Yeah, we're just wrap up. I think we pretty much beat this dead horse. we talked about it a lot. So appreciate everybody. And hey, the algorithm, it does work. We have double the attendance right now because you guys all liked and gave us a thumbs up. So if you haven't already, thumbs it up. Let's get this in front of more people. And one more question. Is this limited to certain states or nationwide? It's nationwide. Yeah. Now, I haven't submitted it where they've said, hey, we don't do the state, or heard that they don't do specific states. I think they do nationwide, but if they don't do like North Dakota or something, I wouldn't have known.
Don't quote Nathan.
I'm sure it's all major areas, major states. So, all right. Well, Merry Christmas, everybody. Landry, do you have anything you want to say before we wrap up?
That's all. Awesome info. Thanks for sharing that with me and with everybody, Nathan. That was pretty awesome. So thanks, guys.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll see you next week. And Landry, I'll see you next year. Oh my gosh, that's wild. Okay, everybody. Peace out and share this with a friend. All right. Bye.